Hey, it's Mike Williams with MikeSellsMD.com and REMAX One. And today we're going to talk about how more than half of all buyers underestimate the closing costs when it comes to purchasing a home. So like I said, we're going to talk about how more than half of all buyers underestimate closing costs. And in a recent survey that was conducted by Closing Corp, and you can see the link below, 1,000 buyers were actually surveyed, and over 50% had underestimated different portions of the closing costs, whether it was the total amount, whether it was the appraisal fee, whether it was primary mortgage insurance, that was a big one, and they were actually blown away by how much it did cost. So what are some good options for you? How can you understand how much it's actually going to cost you to purchase a home? Well, number one, don't forget about down payment. So there's various different programs where you can have no down payment or you can have a low down payment. And then there's programs out there where you hear that traditional 20%. And for some people, 20% makes complete sense. The type of program, the interest rate, everything along those lines. So when it comes to the down payment first, obviously get with a lender so that you can see what you qualify for and then how much money you have to have saved up in order to get that down payment covered. And there are programs where there's no down payment required. So please understand that those do exist. But how much for closing costs? So below there's a graph, the map of the United States, and this shows based on a $200,000 home, what the difference is in closing costs for each state. So it gives you a good ballpark. But according to Freddie Mac, 2% to 5%. You can kind of take, what am I going to purchase my home for? Take 2% of that cost or 5% of that cost, and you can get a good working idea of what your closing costs are going to be. What's the number one best way though? Don't we want to be accurate? Don't we want to know how much money we have to save? Contact your professional. So get in touch with us here with Mike Williams or Mike Sells MD, or contact a lender directly. You do not have to pre-qualify for a loan. We do not have to pull your credit. We can simply take the purchase price of the home, the address of the home, and for your info, I'm going to go straight to the lender and say, hey, give me these numbers. But take the purchase price of the home and the address of the home, and we're going to submit that to the lender, and the lender will give us back a very good estimate as to what your closing costs will be. So let's say we don't have enough time or we don't have enough money for closing costs. What are some of our options? One is, obviously you can cover it all. The other one is we negotiate it into the contract for the purchase. So essentially the seller's going to get less money because they are going to agree to pay your closing costs. So it means you might pay a little bit higher purchase price, but you can take that $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $9,000, $10,000 in closing costs and you can finance it over 30 years. So it allows you to keep more money in your pocket today if that's what works for you. Another option is there are different types of programs through state of Maryland, and if you're watching this in another state, other states that allow grants or temporary loans or lifelong loans that you would pay back if you sold your property. Those also can be applied towards closing costs. So how do we get all that information figured out? Easy. Contact a professional. It's going to be your best bet. But again, we have the chart below with an idea of closing costs. If you look at the video below that, I'm actually going to go through and show you an estimated sheet. So this way you can see what closing costs are, which ones exist, and then give you an idea based on a purchase price of how much money somebody would actually need to close on a property. So yeah, consult a professional early. Understand that on average, it's going to be 2 and 5% of the purchase price. There's many different solutions and programs out there to assist you. So if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to text me, give me a phone call, reach me by email, and I'll look forward to hearing from you. Have yourself a blessed day and take care. And remember, it does matter who you work with.